Okay, so we are going to determine the measure of obtuse angles using properties of supplementary angles. That's the goal of today. Remember that obtuse angles are angles between 90 and 180. So we're going to try to figure out what's going on. We've already done this. This is not something new. So an acute angle is less than 90. And an obtuse angle is between 90 and 180. I got them right from the first time. Supplementary angles are two angles whose sum is. Remember these words? Okay? There are terminologies that you have to use. Now, in the Cartesian plane, a Cartesian plane is the x and y plane. Okay, it's called the Cartesian plane. The intersection of the x-axis and the y-axis creates four regions. Okay? So it creates quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. Okay? And they're numbered counterclockwise starting from the upper right. The reason why they're done like this is because this x, this is your y, this is your positive x, right? This is your positive y. So our first quadrant is quadrant 1, positive x and y. Then we move this way to the left. This is still positive y, but then I have a negative x here. Right? So that's my quadrant 2. And then quadrant 3 is when I have negative x and negative y. And then quadrant 4 is where I have the negative y and the positive x. Okay? In this course, we only deal with quadrant 1 and quadrant 2. Okay? In the U-level courses, they deal with quadrant 1 to 4. Okay? So for the purpose of this course, we're going to only do quadrant 1 and quadrant 2. Okay? Now, if you're looking at this, when I measure my angle, I'm going to start with the x-axis, and I'm going to measure it counterclockwise. Okay? So, that being said, let me just move a little bit here. So, if I have my axis, and I have, let's say, my line right here. Okay? This is where my line is. I shouldn't put an arrow on this. I'm just going to put a. Now, to measure my angle, the angle that I'm looking at, it's measured from the positive x-axis to what we call the terminal R. Okay? So my angle is from here to here. That's my angle there. Angle is always measured from the positive x-axis to the terminal line. So if the angle lies on the x-axis, what would be what would be the measure of that angle? 90. No, if it lies on the x-axis. So if my angle is right here, that's 0. Right? 0. Now, so this is your 0 degree. Okay? If it's on the x-axis. Okay? What do we consider, like what would be the angle between the y-axis and the x-axis? 9. So if I have an angle that's 70 degrees, where is that going to fall? Is it going to fall in the first quadrant, or is it going to fall past the line? It's going to fall in the first quadrant. Okay? So all the acute angles, right, are going to fall in the first quadrant. Okay? Because my 0 degree is on the x-axis, my 90 degree is on the y-axis, so anything between 0 and 90 is going to fall in the first quadrant. Okay? Now, what do you think if the terminal arm falls here? 180. That's going to be 180. Okay? So if I have an obtuse angle, which is between 90 and 180, in what quadrant is it going to fall? and the second one in quadrant number 2. Okay? So, let's look at this. If I have an angle of, let's say, 120, okay, it's going to be in the second quadrant, and I'm going to always measure it from the positive x-axis to that terminal R. Okay? So you see the difference between the first and second quadrant, or you see the difference between acute and obtuse angle? The acute angle are going to fall in the first quadrant. The obtuse angle are going to fall in the second quadrant. Okay? Now, what did I say about the x and the y value in the first quadrant? In the first quadrant, the x and the y value, what are they? Are they negative, positive, positive, positive? Both positive. Okay, so the x and the y in the first quadrant are both positive. Okay, how about in the second quadrant? The y is positive and then x is negative. Do you think that's what's affecting the answer is that my acute angle are always positive, sine, cosine, and tan. But my obtuse angles, I am getting negative for some of the ratios. Maybe that's what's affecting it. Let's see. Okay? So keep in mind that in the second quadrant for the obtuse angles, I have negative x values. Okay? So let's see why is that and how is that playing a role in sine, cosine, and tan, and in sine being positive, cosine and tan being negative in that quadrant. So, use the origin as one of the angles. Any triangle can be defined within the first two quadrants, since any angle in an oblique triangle must be less than 180. Where, like we said that in this course, we are going to only deal with the first two quadrants. Okay?